What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Jeremy's Point of View. Here in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing The Last of Us. We've just got episode 4, just finished watching it a little while ago, and wanted to get my review up and going before calling it quits for the day. So before we dive into everything, please hit a like and subscribe for the channel. Check out the description box below. You guys can find the channel sponsor, Arcadian, fantastic high quality goat's milk soaps, beard oils, bath bombs, body sprays, you name it. There's a men's and women's line, and if you check out the description box below, you'll find the link and a discount code to save yourself some money on your first order. Also, you guys can find my Teespring store in the description box below. There's a lot of great stuff on there, including this Jeremy's Point of View mug and some other items, and there will be more items coming out in the near future. Now let's go ahead and dive into this video. So, The Last of Us, Episode 4, as we come off of a absolutely tearjerker of an episode in Episode 3, kind of was wondering exactly where this episode was going to go, and for those of you that are fans of the video game, you will find that a lot of this episode follows and kind of rings true to where the video game goes. We get a lot of driving with Ellie and Joel. We get to see some of their traveling on the road and siphoning gas, and we get to finally see a bit of this relationship building with them where they're almost coming together a bit as a team finally. We also get to see a scene that is literally ripped right out of the video game with the dirty magazine, and you just got to see it. If you've seen it in the video game, you see it in the show, you'll find that they basically shot it almost scene for scene exact to the video game, and it was a lot of fun to see that play out. Also in this episode, once again, Pedro Pascal continues to be the absolute star of the show, and to be perfectly honest, Ellie, played by Bella Ramsey, continues to grow on me. Like I told you guys before, wasn't certain how I felt about her in the first few episodes and whether or not she could really embody and encompass who Ellie is. But this episode, I think the relationship, the bonding, and the way the two actors play off of each other, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, they really work well together, and you're starting to see in this episode them come together, them begin to bond. We get to a certain point in the episode as well where if you know the video game, you know that they eventually travel long enough that they come to Pittsburgh. In the TV show, they switched that out and they switched it for Kansas City. I think the primary reasons for that is if you look on a map, obviously Kansas City is much farther along than Pittsburgh, so it gives us more of a belief that they've been on the road for a much longer time. Also, in the video game, there typically is a jump from Pittsburgh all the way to, Wyoming, and that's quite a jump, and I think the idea was to kind of pick somewhere more neutral on the map like Kansas City. Also, where they were shooting the show, it made more sense aesthetically that Kansas City would be, the location that they would use. So they arrive at Kansas City instead of Pittsburgh, obviously, and here we get a scene that plays out pretty close to the same as the video game. In the video game, the hunters end up attacking. In this, we see that they are more rebels, and the show has done a bit to kind of... they even say it in the post-credits and stuff when they're talking about shooting this episode, that they wanted to give these rebels a bit more backstory. They wanted to give them a bit more, life than just these terrible people on paper. In the video game, there's a lot more hunters that are fought within the episode and stuff like that, or within the game. And in the episode, it's more of just a few people. We get a very good scene where Joel is in a predicament and Ellie has to basically, shoot the guy. In the video game, it's a lot more gruesome, I would say, because Ellie actually shoots and kills the guy, where in the TV show, Ellie shoots the guy to save Joel, but ultimately Joel has her go back behind the wall and finishes off this guy off frame, off camera. So it's a little bit different in how they're filming it and putting the story together, but I think the changes work really, really well for the show, and the dynamic, like I said, between both Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey continues to flow really, really well in this episode. I like the backstory they gave us of the rebels with this leader, Kathleen, who basically was somebody that wanted to overthrow the Fedra regime, and in turn, she is ruling with this rebel group, with an iron fist that some could say is even harsher than what Fedra, did and ruled as. I mean, there's even a line in there where she says, and she's talking to this doctor and interrogating him, trying to find one of the characters in the show. And he's like, this has got to stop. And she goes, it's got to stop. Why? Because now you're the one in the cage. You're the one not protected and sitting comfy, So overall, great episode. At the very, very ending, we do get left on a bit of a cliffhanger. So spoilers once again. Obviously, I'm going to discuss a whole lot of this episode when you guys tune into this. But we do get left off on a cliffhanger. Joel and Ellie end up, holing up in basically a 33rd floor apartment at the end of the episode, and we do get to see some banter back and forth with them, where in this episode we got to see a lot of Ellie's puns. She starts cracking jokes and things of that nature with Joel, and there's one that actually gets him to laugh at the end, and it's really something that the writers and the showrunners and everybody have done just such a great job. It's like I said, you can just tell that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey work really, really well off of each other, and you can feel the chemistry with them continuing to grow. And this episode, I think, was a big step in the right direction, and giving me as the viewer and allowing me to feel that, Joel and Ellie are starting this bond. They're starting to come together. The shell is starting to kind of come down off of Joel, and he's starting to open up and be this protective father figure that he ultimately was prior to all this and is now becoming again for Ellie. And lastly, we end the episode on a cliffhanger where Joel and Ellie in that apartment end up waking up at gunpoint to Henry and Sam. As you guys know, those characters are from and straight out of the video game, and those are the characters that ultimately Kathleen, the leader of the rebels, are looking for. So will we see Joel and Ellie and Henry and Sam team up together to try to get through this? Will things play out similar to the video game, or will we divert a bit from that course? I'm interested in seeing where everything goes next week. So those are my initial thoughts, guys. Just wanted to kind of go over the episode real quick, give you guys my thoughts, and let you know what I thought of it overall. Obviously, I thought last week's episode 3, was an absolutely beautiful episode, and I thought this was another solid episode for the series. The series continues to truck along, and it's been great watch so far. I mean, I've got no complaints. I liked how they stayed true to a lot from the video game, and I also like the subtle changes that they've made to the story so far, and it's intriguing. I think we're going to get a hell of an episode next week. There was a hint to the bloaters, the giant, basically super infected coming out of the ground. I think we're going to possibly get them next week, if not next week, the week after. I'm kind of hoping that we get them next week because I'm pretty pumped for that. But you guys, let me know what you guys ultimately think in the comment section below. Did you guys like this episode? Did you like, the scenes that they stayed true to the video game? Do you like the changes they made? Let me know overall what you think of the show so far this season. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Jeremy's Point of View. Until next time, peace.